Good afternoon. This is Samil Sundaraj with njvarsity.rowlers.com. I'm happy to welcome in South Brunswick High School football junior place kicker and punter Jai Patel. Jay, thank you so much for taking some time out to speak with me today.
Thank you for having me. It's really an honor.
Hey, you had a tremendous season. I know it was, unusual season, especially with, this, pandemic, the COVID-19, but, converting all 28 extra points, making 7 out of field goal attempts, 20 out of your 37 kickoffs or touchbacks. And then on the punting side, averaging 41 yards per punt with a long of 59. And then, of course, earning first team All-State, All-Conference, in all New Jersey. Congratulations just on a spectacular season, Jay. You've had some time now to reflect, I'm sure, on this season.
Thank you for having me first off, but it was definitely an interesting season, but huge thank you to Miss McGrath, our athletic director, and Coach Viato, head coach for South Brunswick. He really pushed us all summer, making sure we were ready to go. We were doing summer workouts. Even we were doing workouts back in November. We got shut down in school in March, and we continued doing home workouts. Now everyone had access to weights, so we made way using water jugs as weights or milk gallons and just finding every way possible to be able to work out and, just be ready for the season. And I'm really proud of my guys. We had a weird off season. We didn't even get to use footballs until around August. Then we got full pads in September. And on a short season with, no scrimmages, I think we really played well for, the circumstances. And honestly, I couldn't have done anything without my coaches and my teammates, especially kicking, because in football in general, you're going to need all 10 players around you to do everything that you can to succeed.
I wanted to ask you at the training part, especially, being a place kicker and punter, what, you were able to do, personally, in the summertime. And then once you got the green light that, you guys were going to be able to, play this season, can you just talk about that, Jay?
So for kicking especially, it's actually helped me out because I'm usually going to be an independent. I'm going to be kicking by myself. So over the summer, I was able to find football fields around the state that were open at the time. And I just had like 5 or 6 footballs, and I got the use of my family to help fetch them for me. And I got some pretty solid workouts in. And then as we got into this, as soon as our coaches gave us the thumbs up to good to go, we got together as a team and still socially distanced and masked. And it was definitely weird, but we were able to make the best of it.
That's great. Just describe that first game that you guys took the field, Jay. I'm sure that was like, a huge relief, just a real blessing, being able to, again, play the game of football, this season, considering everything, we're going through here with this.
Yeah, back in July, I don't think many of us even thought this season was going to be, I didn't think it was going to be reality. I didn't think we were going to get a single game in. And going onto the field, and you could definitely see from the outcome of the game, like we were ready to go. And especially our seniors who this is going to be their last season. They don't know when the last game is going to be. Yeah. They made sure not to take any game for granted. And that first game from the beginning kickoff all the way to the end of the kneel, when we had to kneel to end the game, I think we gave 100% effort, and it really showed on offense, defense, and special teams.
Yeah. I mean, it's just remarkable, Jay, that you still have another year left under your belt. I mean, being able to, again, these, past 2 seasons, but, this year, especially, again, being able to put up those stats, that I just mentioned, a couple of minutes ago. Can you just, sum up and just, put that into words, again, being that locked in and, focused, said, again, with the task at hand on both sides, with the place kicking and punting.
Well, it's definitely a challenge mentally, because I know physically I've practiced enough and I trust myself, but it's definitely mentally challenging having the opposing team yelling things at you and everything, but you just got to learn how to block out the noise. And again, a huge thing to the teammates, because without a great snap from Joey, my snapper, a great hold from Omar, and the other 8 guys on the field that are blocking for me, none of that would have been possible. Same thing on punt. It really takes all of us to do everything. So as much as it's my success, it's also their success, and I'd love to share that with them.
Yeah, that's an excellent point you made, Jay, is that I was actually speaking with Andrew Huss, place kicker from Northern Highlands Regional High School a couple of days ago, and then that's what we discussed is that everybody on a field goal attempt, and then even so when you're punting, that everybody's got to be in sequence. Everyone's got to be on the same page because if just one little slip up, things can go awry, and then said so I it, again that's so critical, especially when it comes to both of those aspects of your game.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I keep saying it, but truly without them, none
Yeah.
of this would have been possible.
No, I'm saying that those guys don't get the credit. I mean, it's
Yeah.
always, I said the punter, the place kicker, but I said that, these guys, yeah, it's, but it's good that they're recognized as well. I saw your, training, the off season, and I think working with a company, I think it's called One on One Kicking Northeast, I think it is.
Yes.
Can you just talk about, those were just phenomenal videos to watch, with, you being able to kick the ball, long distance. Can you just describe that, Jay?
Yeah, so Coach Luke Gaddis, he's from Long Island, New York, but we meet up in Middletown, New Jersey, which is about halfway for both of us. And really training with him is like nothing you'd ever expect. This year, obviously, it was a little weird, so we did private sessions, but usually we have about 10 to 12 kids in a group session Sundays. And we do some of the craziest things, but those things really help you in the games. Like we do things called a snap hold, so like a realistic game, but when the rushers are using pool noodles and like having those things in your face just makes it 100 times easier when you have those guys rushing at you because they're not having pool noodles. And just working with him really not only helps me like critique my form, but it's also helped me in game, and it's also helped me become a better person. Just training with him, he really teaches you more than football when you're there.
That's great. I just wanted to go back to Coach Viato and the rest of the coaching staff. Just these last two, just what they've meant to you, personally. I mean, I said you still have another year to go, with this team, with this coaching staff. Just if you can talk about his leadership and just what he has meant to you and just brought to the table here with South Brunswick High School.
Coach Viato, he's done a great job since coming in last year. Not many people expected much from South Brunswick, especially. We've put in a new offense, defense from when we had Coach George, and Coach Viato's done a great job leading us, coaching us. We're always prepared. The coaches are going to be they're there 7 days a week, going over film, doing the best that they can to make sure that we are prepared for the next task at hand. And they really leave nothing on the table. They're going to make sure that we're going 100% and that they're going 100%. And they make sure on Friday nights that there is zero reason to think that we can't win the game.
Yeah. I mean, again, unusual year, that, you never knew if you're going to play a game, and then, preparing for an opponent. How tough was that? And then, of course, with practices. And then, without any fans in the stands, you hardly had any people, maybe some parents, family in the stands, but that was just pretty much about it. Can you just, I mean, again, just how that whole environment was, for you and the rest of the team this year?
It definitely forced us to have to create our own energy and almost have to build our own momentum, because we can get an interception or have a big tackle and the fans will almost help you with only parents there, like no student section or additional fans that would normally come to our games. We really relied on ourselves and, the captains of the team to give us that energy and give us that jolt that we really needed when the big parts of the games, we really needed that energy.
I don't want you to give away too many of your secrets, but I wanted to find out, when you're lining up, said for that field goal, it's a physical game, but it's a mental game as well, Jay. Just can you talk about what maybe some of the things that you go through, your regimen, as you're preparing to line up there and kick a field goal?
Yeah, we have a saying, or at least with my coach, Coach Gaddis, every kick is an extra point. Extra points get almost the easiest kick, and you don't really need to worry about it, but you still do. And just mentally, you can only do your job, and having that trust with my long snapper and holder and my blockers is a big part of it. And especially if you don't have that bond with them that they're going to do their job, it's going to be challenging. But for me personally, I've had the same holder and snapper since I started kicking.
Yeah.
And it's really something I don't really need to worry about as much, which is obviously a great feeling.
Good. I've seen, of course, watching the videos of you training, in the gym, said, lifting, just trying to, again, maintain, said your that physical part of the game. Can you talk about it? I mean, just as they say, it's 24/7, 365. I don't think, you really take a day off. I mean, they said, I'm sure like, you'll be back, training, for the upcoming season. Can you just talk about that, Jay?
Yeah, so I try to kick probably 3 to 4 times a week on the off season. And those days I'm not kicking, I want to lift just because people just might think it's just your legs that need to be strong. You just need to go kick. But it's really more than that. It's about becoming a great athlete because you never know when you're going to have to make that tackle to save the kickoff for a touchdown. And really just working on explosion and really becoming an athlete because kicking is maybe many people might not think of it, but you need to be an athlete to be a kicker.
This season, any field goal kicks said or punts that stood out to you that you're going to take and soak in as this year ends, Jay?
There wasn't one specific kick, but there was one game, the first game of the season actually, against Perth Amboy. I had career best 3 kickoffs. I mean, not 3 field goals, all went in. And then I had a bunch of touchbacks. And that game meant so much to me just because it was our first game and it could have been our last. And I made sure that we left, like on the special team side of the ball, I left a lasting impression on the season.
You mentioned, sometimes you hear that chatter, from opponents and, as you're lining up to kick. And then, I mean, of course, you've experienced where, the fans, it said, have been there again, coming with the noise, but just being able to block that out and, not even paying attention to that, I'm sure, is something you always try to, again, deal with, and focus in on, Jay.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the aspects of the game. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Because you do not know what other people are going to say.
Yeah.
And you can try to mimic that, but it's really all in the moment.
That's true. Wanted to ask you your first year.
Get the question number. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, just the 2019 season. Your first season, kicking for South Brunswick High School. Just what that, and you were able again to rack up a number of accolades. Said just again, if you can describe the 2019 season. Hello? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you just talk about the 2019 season, Jay?
Yes, that was definitely a challenge, especially with the new coaching staff. But I had so much trust in my teammates, and I think we adapted really well. And personally, I was very proud of myself my first year on varsity full time. So my freshman year, I got called up the last couple of games just to do some kickoffs, but this was my first real year of doing all 3 aspects of special teams. And I'm really proud of myself for the way I did it, but I'm also proud of the way my teammates handled it and how they always put me in a good situation to succeed.
There was I think you had one, field goal. Did you guys make the playoffs in 2019?
Yes, we made it to the first round. We played.
Yeah, I believe there was a field goal that you kicked that actually, clinched the playoff spot. Can you describe, how cool that was, that moment? Was that a home game or said as far as like, you just, kicking that field goal, Jay?
Yeah, we were coming off a tough loss against Piscataway, and then we were playing Saraville, who's not a rival, but a respected opponent. And they're always a tough team. And we played them at home, and it was a defensive struggle. And there was about 9 minutes left in the game, and we had to hit a 40-yard field goal. And I made it, and especially having my student section there and a bunch of fans, like it was one of the best feelings I've ever had. And then they drove down the field, and we made a great defensive stop. And just that feeling, Coach Viata was so proud of us, and I was just so proud of my teammates and the way we handled that whole game, and probably one of the best highlights of my high school career so far.
That's great. I mean, can you believe? I think I was reading once that you're the sixth ranked kicker in the U.S. in the United States for the class of 2022. I
Yes.
mean, when you does it sometimes like give you goosebumps? You just like that knowing that that being able to recognize for that type of honor.
It's definitely a great feeling. One that I've worked really hard for, and my parents have pushed me so much just to become like like a great player and person.
Yeah.
And I don't take that for granted ever. Um, but overall, it's a great feeling. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's just what can you do in the game, because rankings don't really mean much as when you're playing in a real football game overall.
I didn't want to forget about South Brunswick High School, the support, from, of course, the students, but then faculty and the administration, your athletic director. Can you just talk about that, Jay?
Yeah, Miss McGrath, she's awesome. She's helped us so much. She, providing new gear for us whenever we need it in the weight room or football gear. And there was one specific moment this year. Our first game against Monroe got canceled because they had some cases, and within 2 hours, she was able to find us a new opponent for the next day. And she is relentlessly working for us, and she really cares about all the players, and the faculty are always supportive, and they're always wishing us good luck for any sport, any game, in any situation, and really thankful for them too.
I just have a couple more. Can't thank you enough for the time, Jay. I've asked a bunch of players. It's not easy being a student athlete. Also, I mean, you have to balance both out. And can you just describe that? Again, being able to time management, keep organized here. Know what your priorities are as far as with both academics and athletics.
Yes, definitely. South Brunswick is a high-end academic school as well as with sports, and it really helps me because it's going to prepare me for college much better, having to be able to time manage coming home from football practice, going to do homework, and then going to lift maybe, or just all the other extracurriculars I have to do. And it's definitely tough, but I think I can manage it pretty well.
Hey, talk about the support from South Brunswick, from the community. How has that worked? Just in your first couple of years here, Jay.
Yeah, like you definitely see it on Facebook. Like my mom tells me on Facebook that the community is always reaching out, and you have a bunch of parents or people that don't even have any relation to football coming to the game and supporting, and it's just a real it's a great feeling that people are supporting you and rooting for you at all times. And South Brunswick's just an amazing town for that.
That's good. I'm wondering, growing up, what sports you played, and when did you, get that feeling, or said for our passion, for the game of football. Can you just talk about that? I see you got a Pittsburgh Steelers, can't even speak shirt on, but can you just again talk about that, Jay?
Yeah, growing up, I was a soccer player. I played at PDA, which is a high soccer academy in New Jersey, and I also played football in the town. And one day at practice, they were like, "We need a kicker. Who can kick the ball the farthest?" And we put it on the tee, and I hit it pretty far. And you're like, "Okay, you're the kicker."
Yeah.
And growing up, I played both sports, and then when it came down, I chose football just because I love football at all. Like I always liked soccer, but football was always just something I had a passion for.
Yeah.
And growing up, I played the field and kicked, but as time went on, it was just kicking seemed like the thing for me. And that's when I got Coach Gaddis to help train me. And since then, I've never looked back.
Hey, I know you missed a 56-yarder, but I mean, the fact that you're able to kick, long distance, it's anywhere between the neighborhood of 40 and 50 yards. And, just knowing that, you still are growing, you're still, I mean, you have plenty of time to improve here. Like, even like, with your physical game as well. I mean, can you just talk about that, how you're able, I mean, it's just amazing just, that you're able to kick that, that far, Jay.
Definitely being a shorter kicker. Most kickers are around 6 foot.
Yeah.
It's much more challenging for a 5'9" kid to try to hit those deep field goals. But that
Yeah.
really comes down to the weight room
Yeah.
and just focusing on lifting and being an explosive athletic player.
Hmm.
And definitely just focusing on certain movements that are going to help me kick much better. And over time, I've been able to develop that leg strength, which is crucial, especially for kicking.
That's great. I was just wondering, any field goal kickers, whether it be in college or again the NFL, that you sort of tried to maybe model your game after, or take some tidbits from, and the way they again approach when they kick a field goal, or even on the punting side, Jay.
My personal, like, the person I strive to be is Justin Tucker on the
Okay.
Baltimore Ravens,
Yeah.
probably the greatest kicker in NFL history. And just
Yeah.
the amount of focus he has on every kick and the way he is the most consistent player I've ever seen, almost in any position in any sport.
Yeah.
He is as reliable as it can be, and I try to model my game just like how he plays.
Yeah. Yeah. I just the other night, I mean, it's one of the best Monday night games I think we've seen, between the Ravens and Browns. But the way his kicks, his field goal kicks, the way they are so high arching, like it just, just the distance, and then just the way he's able to elevate his kicks is just, it's superb. But I got two questions left. Of course, with family, and then I think this is really important, and I hope you agree with this, is that being, as an Indian, that you don't see too many Indian, as said players, and the fact, you've been able to attain this level of success, in high school. I'm just wondering, like, do you feel like, I mean, just setting that great example, almost being, a role model for younger, kids, saying, okay, we see Jai Patel doing it, maybe we can do it. I'm just wondering if, sometimes, you sense that, Jay.
Definitely around the town, you see like almost anytime I'm at the field and I'm kicking,
Yeah.
I can see some little kids and they're trying to copy me, and it's a great feeling. And I hope
Yeah.
that not many people want to be kickers, but
Yeah.
it's a great position. And honestly, I hope I'm an inspiration, because that's almost one of the best things you can be for kids around your town.
Yeah. No, it just 2 weeks ago I was watching Fox Sports, and there was a Chinese player on Arizona State, and it's just really how far we've progressed and we've come as a country, that you can see people from different, different communities, different ethnicities, especially the Asian community, be able to, again, play these different sorts, especially football, the game of football. And it just, I think, again, it just, it goes to show how much of a melting pot we are here, and that we are a land of immigrants here, in the United States, Jay.
Definitely, yes. And it's great to see how more and more ethnicities are coming to play this great sport.
Final question is family. If you can talk about your parents, if you have any siblings, but just the support you've received from your family here in high school, and especially playing on the football team, Jay.
Yeah, my two sisters, Kayla and Tyler, are my biggest cheerleaders. They're driving me to the field constantly, or driving me to the gym, or just being so supportive. And I really, there's nothing I like. I'm so thankful for them. And my parents have put me in such a great situation and are always going to be on top of me to make sure I'm 100% focused on school and football, because you're a student athlete, not an athlete student. Always have to make sure you're going great in the classroom and on the field. And I'm really thankful for how much they care. And yeah.
Sounds good. Hey, Jay, you're a class act. I said it's great what you're doing. Just again, wishing you continued success. Keep up the great work there. I said on the football team and in the classroom at South Brunswick High School, and looking forward to seeing what you do. Of course, in your senior year in 2021, and again, just representing the community so proudly.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.